which would be on commodity currencies, AED USD, NZD USD, and USD CAD. Shortly after, my colleague Demola is going to come and do his own analysis on indices, US 30, NAS 100, and any other pair is looking at today. Before we proceed, I'd like to ask that you clarify if you can hear me, see my screen as well. You just leave an emoji for me in the chat box, so I'm sure we are together. I see Moyo. Hi, Moyo. Good morning. Hi, Kayode. It's good to have you here. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Please clarify. All right. Thank you. Perfect. So we're going to be starting off with AED USD as usual. However, we're just two on this session, so I'd like to ask that you please share this link with more people. You could post it on your stories, post it in trading communities that allow the posting of links so that more people can join this session. It's totally free at no cost to you. So please share the link so that we have more people on board, okay? I'm going to believe and trust that you're sharing the link while we start the first part of this analysis. All right, so what do we see AUSD doing today? If you remember on Tuesday, we marked out certain levels that we're looking at price trading into. So what has price done so far? Price has violated a few levels, but let's start from the top, shall we? So I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of these zones for the sake of those who were not here on Tuesday so that everybody is carried along. All right. So on the H4 time frame, we clearly have a bearish structure. Everything is to the downside and structure. Sunshine has been printed on the H4 as well, basically signifying that retracement reversals are currently happening, right? Then we went ahead to the 1 hour time frame to mark out certain levels. The first one being the momentum. So we had 3 major points of interest on AUD/USD, which I'm marking out right now. You can take note of the price on the right-hand corner of the screen, right? So we marked out this level saying that we're seeing AUD/USD buying into those ones before the H4 structure is continued. And price has now tapped into the first point of interest and we see reactions to the downside. So we're going to see if this level is going to hold when we go to the M5 time frame. However, if this level is broken above, then we know that it's coming here. And if this level gets broken, we know it's coming all the way into the trend. All things being equal, I expect AUD/USD to buy back all the way into this 1 hour trend. But let's go on the M5 time frame and see what we have happening in this particular session. So I'm just going to delete the previous rectangles we marked out so you don't get confused. I know the indicators are a lot on their own. Okay. So just give me a second to take them off the charts. Okay, this one is proving stubborn. I'm just going to leave this third one because it's stuck in between the other indicators. So when you click, it keeps showing that you want to remove one of the indicators. Okay, so what do we do on this time frame? If you've been following our market color sessions, you know that we repeat 4 basic methods, 4 basic steps. First of all, mark out yesterday's high. And then we go ahead to mark out yesterday's low, right? Yesterday's low marked out here as well. The third level we're now going to mark out is now the before yesterday's high, which is right here. And then the before yesterday's low. So why am I marking out these levels? I want to see what price does when it gets to these POIs. Now, price got here, broke above, it's been trading upward. Even our momentum indicators, they're all pointing upward right now. However, there's a close by resistance level at this point and another from the H1 time frame that should send price down. So on the M5 time frame, what I'm doing right now is to see if price is able to break above this zone. If I say break above all of these zones here, then I know that the buy is going to continue into what? The H1 point of interest I already marked out. For the M5, there's no sign of any sell happening right now. There's no sign because this is all right, it has already broken above. Looks like it's breaking above the indicators and it's going to trade all the way in here. Until price gets to this point and I see structures to the downside before I say, okay, maybe this is where it's going to hold from. But if it does not hold, I'm seeing it break above all of these zones. I'm going into the H1 point of interest. So brief recap on AUD USD. My bias is currently bearish, following what structure, following what the indicators are doing. I'm currently bearish. That's the big picture. And then expecting short-term buys into the H1 point of interest, which we marked out before we now continue the overall sell. That is provided all of these zones are respected, right? Okay, I hope that is clear. If it is, leave a message for me in the chat box. Just tell me it is clear before we move on or while we start the NZD-USD analysis. Is the AUD-USD clear? Do you understand my bias? So on NZD-USD, please type in the chat box before we start or while we start. H for what do we see? Structure is also to the downside on NZD-USD. Pretty similar to what we saw on AU. Perfect, thank you. Structure is to the downside, very clear. Sunshine has been printed. So overall, bias, sell. Short-term bias is a buy into what zones? Into the different zones I'll be marking out on the H1 time frame. The first one being my trend, second pullback, and then the third one being my momentum right here. But you see that price is even using the momentum as some sort of support right now for you to continue buying into the other points of interest, right? However, I'm still going to go ahead and mark it. There's been a break and a retest of this particular zone. So I see NZD-USD buying into, at the very barest minimum, the pullback, and then eventually break above to this zone. Same thing I did on AU, I'll repeat here. Remember, trading is very repetitive. The same thing we do on different asset classes is what we do on the different asset classes as well. So I'm just going to repeat what I did, mark out the same exact zones. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, the day before yesterday's high and low. So this is now my first M5 point of interest. Yesterday's high, day before yesterday's high, which is right here. I believe you can see it. And then the third level I'm now marking out right here. Even on the M5 time frame, we're currently stuck in a range as well. But it's looking like a range to the upside because we see our indicators already covering to the upside. So in a range to the upside, the nearest resistance on NU is right here. If price gets here, we put the reactions to the downside. And then, of course, if our entry pattern is formed and it gives us entry to sell, we will take a sell from this point all the way down here. And from that level, provided our entry is formed somewhere around here, it's going to be around 30-something pips, which is what it's, right? But if price breaks above this zone, this is the next resistance level that will fight it. And if it's able to break above that zone, then we know that it's going to the H1 pullback or the trend. Clear enough? On USD card now, what do we see? So short term we're buying AU, short term we're buying NU as well. USD card H4 time frame, what our structure saying we're clearly bullish. Too clean. Sunshine has been printed, so we're expecting short-term reversals. On the H1 time frame as well. On the H1 time frame, same thing. You see that some zones are still on the chart because we didn't clean them, right? However, I'm just going to drag them now to fit where our indicators currently are. First, right here. Second one is still here, and then third one right in the middle of my trend. So I'm expecting to sell USD card short-term into these zones. M5 time frame, what am I doing? Marking out 4 basic levels. POI1, and POI2, which is in confluence with the H1 point of interest. POI3, right here. POI4. right? I'm expecting short-term sales from the H1 time frame. On the M5, are we seeing entries? Now, price has broken below this, giving a retest, looking like it's going to continue to the downside, right? So we're to sell USD CAD right now, where we're going to be selling to our first take profit to be right here, and the second take profit to be all the way in here. Let me check 1 hour, 1 minute. Looks like there just might be an entry for USD CAD sale right now. Wait for that to load up. Okay, if we're going to enter USD CAD sale, this would have been, it's a perfect place to enter the sale right now. A great place to enter the sale of USD CAD. And then our first take profit is going to be right here. That's about 20 pips. Before taking any trades, always do your risk to return calculation to be sure it is worth it, right? So our first take profit to be here, our second take profit to be here. And if price breaks below all of these zones, where is USD CAD selling into? USD CAD is going to sell all the way down here. First, take profit on the higher time frame will be 1.38321, and then our second take profit to be down here. So on USD CAD, I'm seeing entries for sell. My bias is also to the downside. Short term, of course, because our overall structure, our overall indicator positions are also to the upside, right? So short-term sell on USD CAD, short-term buy on AU and NZUSD before we now trade into those ones. But if you're trading along with the trend, what we should be doing right now is just watching out for those ones that we mapped out, waiting for price to get into those ones. I'm only able to catch reversal trades because my strategy allows me to take reversal trades when different factors tally, right? It allows me to take that. But if you're a strict trend following trader, wait for price to get into these ones. We also advise to go with the trend, especially when you've not done reversal trades. I'm able to take reversal trades because I've done it over time and I'm comfortable risking certain figures on these particular trades, okay? So let me know if this session was clear. Pretty much it's using the all-weather strategy. And this strategy is taught in our FS bootcamp class. I'm going to be teaching this particular strategy today. If you're not aware, we have our FS bootcamp training currently ongoing for this month. And we're going to be having the live session in Abuja in November. So we're teaching you how to use these indicators properly, teaching you the different other methods that we have, market structure, price action. So you're going to be learning how CJ trades, you're going to be learning how Demola, Cynthia trades, all of it in one course. And then of course, over time, you now get to pick the one you want to stick with. So if you're in Abuja or you know somebody who is in Abuja, tell them we're coming to your city in November. Very, very close. I think it's less than 3 weeks right now. So yeah, just send a DM for more information on that. And before then, you can even start taking the training online as well, before we now have the live session physically in Abuja. Okay, so what you said, very clear. Thank you so much for engaging. I hope it was clear for everyone else as well. Mr. Alami, Mr. Joseph, Kayode, Mangot, Mr. Shea, was this session clear? Was it helpful? If it was, please let me know before we call it a wrap. Clear as a gym session. My God. All right, very helpful, very clear. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Okay, perfect. Good to know. So now we can move on to discuss the second part of this session on indices. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back in less than 1 minute. Stick around. Cheers and God bless.
But they just need to improve. But if they fail to improve, I love the owners. You know, you will go on low. From low, you forget it. From there, we buy another set of defenders. But for this game, they did not play well. And it really show why. Yes, yeah, why it really show why you don't fit see them on Sunday. There is no magic way you go play Man United. You can't say they are like for the starting lineup. You go always see why they sit down for them, because for you to make the first team, you need to play games like this very, very well, especially holding the ball. Not be that shape, but good result for Newcastle. Good result.
What do you make of the starting lineup when you first say now your conclusion is when you see the last start?
Hello, welcome everyone. How are we doing today? Welcome to the second part of the market color. My name is Demola Global, and then I'll be going through analysis on indices pair. By indices, I mean your US 30, NAS 100, and also S&P 500, if time permits us. So last week we had an analysis on US 30 and NAS, where we mentioned that the market is beginning to dive to the downside, both on the daily time frame and also on the 4 hours time frame, actually. Mainly, please give me a sec so I can load my trading view. Okay. All right. Right, please. That's it. Okay. All right. On the daily time frame, we mentioned that we are overall still very much bullish. However, price action is beginning to print bearish pattern for us in terms of candlestick formation. We are currently seeing it's obvious that we're going to sweep this low and then, you know, ultimately come to the downside. Also, when you check on the higher time frame, you see that it's actually corresponds with our Fibonacci level. If we use Fib to mark this area, see that we're currently approaching the discount zone for those that want to buy. Currently approaching the discount zone, which makes sense for us to start buying from. So the sell off to the downside is actually pretty good and it's very, very much valid, right? So that being said, we are also I'll consider this that the market is trying to reprice in anticipation for the US election. So we're trying to reprice so that at the time the election is done, the outcome will begin to see some significant rally across board and in both US 30, NAS 100, and also S&P 500. So that's like the underlying fundamental or sentiments that I'm really considering when approaching this market. In terms of what the 4 hours is doing, let's look quickly and then we're going to move to the next analysis. 4 hours is completely bearish in terms of market structure. We are bearish market structure. From market structure perspective, what I want to see is that price break this low, this low that's been here, which I want to believe that very soon we should see a break of structure approaching this zone, breaking it to the downside, right? And also speaking about the intraday analysis, what am I expecting for intraday basis? I'm seeing something very unique on the 1 hour, and which makes sense for those that understand the box pattern. We use box pattern for analysis across board in our market color. You see that there's a sweep here. The market has created a sweep, and then we have a clean box pattern across US 30. So what am I expecting? A sweep and then a break to the downside. I'm expecting that price is going to come back to this zone here and then ultimately start tanking to the downside. That's my expectation this morning. Also on the 2 hour time frame, there's a fair value gap that coincides with just an order block above it. So making this area very, very interesting, right? Making this our area of interest. So I want to anticipate that when price comes to this zone, I'm just going to, start looking forward for my entry signature on the lower time frame for me to start selling off Dow Jones, right? And then that will also give me, this area is going to give me confidence to do that. That being said, that's what I'm expecting on Dow Jones. The major concern about this other block, which I guess price is just going to react a little bit to it and then ultimately start selling off from this zone. Hopefully, right? That being said, let's quickly move to our analysis on NAS 100. That's the NASDAQ. On the daily time frame too, we can see that NASDAQ is still heavily bullish, it's heavily bullish. However, we can see that on the daily time frame, this candle formation is very significant. We had an engulfing candle here, followed by a strong bearish candle that is still currently printing. Today is Thursday. By tomorrow, the market should close. So we have a very strong engulfing candle around here. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. We'll see that market just price just broke structure around this zone, right? We just had a break of market structure around this zone. I'm sorry, trying to draw the box strategy. Break of structure around this zone, right? We had a break of structure around this zone, and then we anticipate that all right, we had a break of market structure around this zone, and then the next zone is where this, right? And so what am I expecting? I'm expecting that since we've seen like a box pattern forming around here, price should eventually go up to this zone and then start like we had on US 30. But on NAS, it's really not clear. This is just like the first 4 hours break of market structure. So it's still a bit dicey. Unlike the one on US 30 that we've seen multiple break of structure to the downside. So I might want to just be a bit careful when it comes to NAS 100 for the sell-off, right? And I want to just be a bit careful. We are having also a good box pattern for a buy is here on US 100, that's NASDAQ, right? But then because of the recent price action from the daily time frame, the order flow from the daily time frame looks very, very bearish. So I just want to pause on that. What do I mean by that? Look at the daily time frame, right? This looks very, very bearish. We expect that price is going to clear this week. It's going to fill this week and then still continue printing to the downside. So that's buy on the 4-hour time frame. It's a bit scary. I just want to mark that out and then watch our price is going to react to that level. Not necessarily that I'm going to engage the market when price eventually gets to that level. But what am I expecting for you? NAS 100, particularly, I'm big on the sell. Although it's a bit early, but then I'm anticipating this sell to happen, and then from there we can, see a sell off to the downside. Let's look at 1 hour. If there's something interesting there on the 1 hour, it's like the same thing, almost the same, right? And then I just expect that when price comes here, we're going to engage the market from there. It's going to make a lot of sense. Finally, to our analysis on S&P 500. It's almost like the same thing. They have picked, they've cleared new highs, and then they are beginning to just retrace all of them, right? We use our fib, we see that market still has a long way to go to the downside, right? So I believe probably 50.0 level, and then we'll start seeing push to the upside again. However, we should also note that today is like the 31st of October. November 5th is US election. So that's like how many days from now, right? So in another view, I would just want to implore to be patient in terms of entering the market, because that election is very significant. And so I think that is what the market is trying to do, to reprice for the outcome of the election, which we eventually will see the results probably by the 6th, 7th of the same November. All right, that being said, on the 4-hour time frame, what are we looking out for on S&P 500? S&P 500 already started selling since last week, right? So I'm expecting that price is going to eventually, that's cleared this zone, all of this previous low, right? And its own box pattern is quite not so clear. However, we can still engage the markets from the zone. It's not that clear, although we can still engage the markets. There was a sweep, then a break to the downside, then a return to this zone for us to start selling off to the downside. Where do we ultimately exit from? I see myself exiting from this trade around here, around this zone, because of the fair value gap, right? Let me just use this. Because of the fair value gap around this zone. So something like something like this, and then you know the usual drill. When price comes to this level, you want to scale, look at the lower time frame for your entry pattern, which you can now use to engage this market. Number one, for a good entry, and then a more precise entry. Number two, for to maximize risk to reward ratio. All right, that being said, this is a good place for us. If you have any question, please ensure to ask all of your questions. Do you have any question? Do you have any inquiry? Was this analysis helpful? Was it helpful? You can just download or save this, have a screenshot of this, and then keep it in anticipation of what the market is going to do by New York Open. If this analysis was helpful, let me know in the chat box. If you have any question, you can ask. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That being said, I wish you all a profitable trading. A simple reminder again, we are coming to Abuja by November. I believe we've been saying this for the FX Bootcamp. For those interested that want to learn how to trade, you're already a trader, but you want to improve your trading journey, and it's the training for you. This is the training for you. Ensure you get the information, all the information you need. Send us a DM, a WhatsApp chat on Instagram or on Telegram, on Facebook. We're available for you. That being said, I wish you all a profitable training. Cheers and God bless, guys.